Uncomfortable Podcast with Dubin and Dakhil on the RealGM Network. That's Jared Dubin, author of Last Night in Basketball. Make sure you're reading and subscribing to his amazing newsletter. You're going to get a ton of stuff. Playoffs are here. That's it. Regular season's over. Make sure you subscribe to his stuff. He will make you a smarter basketball fan. There will be some things you missed in games that Jared will catch, because that's what Jared does, is he catches all the stuff. I'm Mo Dakhil, former video coordinator with the Clippers Spurs Team Australia. I do videos for Offside. I'm a contributor on NBA TV and all that other fun stuff. You've heard me on quite a few podcasts in the past. So we're here now, and make sure you rate, review, subscribe. RealGM feed. Make sure you're liking us on YouTube, all that fun stuff. Leave reviews. 5 million reviews is the goal. And have it just be nice. Just be nice. 5 stars. Be nice. It's that simple. Jared, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Like you said, make sure review, subscribe to the RealGM radio feed, and that way we can get some more listeners and keep this going for, as long as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jared, I just want to say, we've survived. We made it through aspiration, tree deals, and salary cap circumvention. We've supposedly, I guess I should say, because nothing's been actually... reports aren't actually in. We survived a gambling ring broken up and players arrested, head coach arrested after the first game of the season. We've survived the alien invasion known in Victor Wembanyama. We've survived. I mean, there's been so much dumb stuff that's happened in this season.
We've survived months worth of tanking discourse.
Oh, God.
We survived the Giannis drama.
The discourse is worse than the actual tanking, to be honest. And that says something, because the tanking has been atrocious. But the discourse... I saw
the other day, or maybe it was yesterday, that ESPN posted this is the first season ever where there were 8 teams that finished with a 333 winning percentage or worse. So the tanking has been quite bad, and the discourse has been unquestionably, not even close, worse.
And in all of this stuff, we've forgotten the things that have been great. We've had great games all season long. We had phenomenal games. Think back to Christmas.
Even on the last day of the regular season where nobody was playing, we had some great games.
We really did, actually. And shout out to Orlando. Thank you for really trying to fire your coach.
Anti-shout-out to Orlando. Anti-shout-out to Orlando. Just our punching bag throughout the entire season. Just incredible
everybody.
Stuff on the last day.
They've earned it. They've earned it. Let's not like we're picking on them. They have earned it. And yesterday proved it on the last day of the season. But also, we've forgotten things like, remember that amazing overtime win Christmas Day, Denver, Minnesota?
Absolutely.
That game absolutely being phenomenal. We've had so many bangers across the board with all these. We had a good All-Star game.
We had a good All-Star game. We had a good NBA Cup.
We had a good NBA Cup. Surprising result.
We had those 3 Spurs Thunder games in a span of 2 weeks where the Spurs beat up on them. We had the Nuggets Spurs game a couple weeks ago. There has been so much good stuff this year.
Can I contend that those 3 wins might have saved the NBA season? We were going in. That's it. OKC's gonna just run through everybody. They were 24-1. We were talking about it. I was like, oh, man, they might get the 33 win streak record. Granted, I got carried away. Not a shock. But just saying,
I don't know how carried away you got. I told my brother they were going to win 75 games.
But, that's what it looked like. And those 3, the Spurs kind of all right, handling them 3 times in a row kind of saved the season, because it let everybody go all right. Now, don't get me wrong. The Thunder still might run through everybody in the playoffs. But it kind of provided us a little bit more fodder, I think, than what would have been what's the point? The Thunder are going to win everything.
Yeah, and they did still win 64 games despite not having their team for basically the entire season. Jalen Williams basically didn't play this year. Alex Caruso played 1,000 minutes. Chet missed time. Hartenstein missed time. A.J. Mitchell missed a bunch of time. Everybody was out except for Shea for the most part.
That is going to be the story of the Thunder in general. Just how deep they are, how good they are, all that fun stuff. But we're here now and it's the end of the season. So I'm going to just tell you what the show is going to be, folks, so that you guys get the whole thing set up. We're going to do our all NBA teams right now, first, second, and third team. We're going to take a break. We're going to do our all defensive team, our all rookies teams. I'm sure there's going to be arguments, things like that. And then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk playing games. And that's going to be our show. That should do it for us. So I've rambled on for a lot. Jared, I know because, again, I'm a subscriber to Last Night in Basketball. I know you've put out your teams and your awards. Let's just start off the bat. Who is on your all NBA first team? With the caveat, Luka Doncic is probably appealing it. We don't know if he'll get it or not. So there's that caveat. Give me your 5 and and then give me your second team. Or just give me your 5 first.
So the 5 I have is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Victor Wembanyama, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic if he's eligible, and Jaylen Brown.
That's my 5. Not any drama there. I don't think there's anything. Is there anything you want to specifically, like that 5th spot? I think would be the one that's probably most debated. Was there anything that, like, why Jaylen Brown for you?
Just the totality of the effort throughout the season, like raising his usage rate to the second highest usage rate in the league and still having a more efficient season than he did last year's 36% usage. I think he was at 57 or 58% true shooting, if I'm remembering correctly. The Celtics were still very good with him on the floor, even though they were a little bit better when he was off the court. He took the toughest defensive assignment on the perimeter on a lot of different nights while Derek White sort of wreaked havoc away from the ball. He had to do so much for their offense, especially in a year where White did not shoot the ball well and where Pritchard didn't shoot the ball well to start the season at least. He shot better over the course of the regular season, but they really needed what Jaylen Brown was bringing to the offense. Just 29 a game, every single night. He had the best passing season of his career and did it without raising his turnovers too much. Very good positional rebounder. He just did everything for them throughout the entire year.
Yeah, that's the argument. And I know the whole thing. We've talked about it before. But the on-off numbers or whatever, like, go listen to past podcasts. We're not going to dive into that again. I just don't buy into that being. I think that's one of those things sometimes where when we use that as a negative stat, we're not seeing the whole story. Where the positive stat, it's not the same as Jokic or Wemby.
I tend to look
whatnot.
more at what they do on court as opposed to on off. Like, it's not your fault if the team plays well with you off the court.
Yeah, it's generally not. So that was my first team as well. We're aligned there. I'm going to give you my second team.
Please.
Okay? I have Donovan Mitchell, who would be bumped to first team should Jokic get disqualified.
Doncic, not Jokic.
Yeah, him too. Sorry. It's at the end it gets me. But Luka, he would embrace Luka if they don't give him the exception, which just give him the exception, please. And can you just decide that right now? I have Jamal Murray, Kawhi Leonard, I have Jalen Duren, and Jalen Brunson.
Okay, so we have 2 different players on here. I also have Donovan Mitchell, who would also make my first team if Luka's ineligible. I also have Kawhi Leonard. I also have Jamal Murray. But my last 2 are Tyrese Maxey and Kevin Durant.
Okay. I'm going with, let's just start with, for me, Brunson. He's just a straight up, like, stud. At the end of games for the Knicks, like, he's the guy. You saw it in the Atlanta game.
Yep.
Right? Where he just completely takes over. And in that game, he was competing defensively. Like, I just don't understand how we don't have him both second team. Like, for me, he is
so
the reason why.
If Luka is ineligible, he's my first guy on the third team.
He gets bumped up. Okay. But I think for me, like, he automatically second, just in the way of, like, he's the reason why. He's the main reason why the Knicks are what they are this season. Offensively, he brings everything, organizes everything. Even with the new coaching change, not a lot has changed for him. They've changed the offense, and it hasn't really dipped in him too much. For me, he's automatic second team.
The slight shooting dip over the second half of the season, I think like 45, 34, 82 post-February compared with 48, 38, 85 before that was kind of what pushed me down for, it was like between him and Durant for the last spot for me. And the fact that Durant was a little more consistent throughout the entire regular season, like just absurd efficiency, 50, 40, 90 shooting line essentially on 27% usage. Like the Rockets counted on him to go solo more often than any of his teams in more recent seasons. And he did it at an extremely high level. His defense, it wasn't his best defensive season, but he was still a pretty good defender throughout the regular season. He brings more on that end, obviously, than Brunson does. And I do think it was an okay defensive season for Brunson. He obviously drew a ton of charges. I think he was second in the league behind Tumani Kamara, if I'm remembering correctly. That may or may not be right. Kamara drew like a zillion.
Yeah, don't fact check us. Don't fact check us.
But yeah, I mean, look, Brunson extremely, like, just an unbelievable season for him. He's one of the most, I said it in my post, like one of the most indomitable players in the league. You just can't stop him from doing what he wants to do for the most part. I just think the efficiency dip a little bit over the second half of the season was what had me knock him down to the 11th guy on my list as opposed to the 9th or 10th.
So the reason why Durant's not on my second team is I think he has to get dinged a little bit for the whole Twitter and attitude and things.
Yeah,
like
I don't
that.
care about that.
I do, though, because it affects your team. You saw how bad this team looked post All-Star break. Like they're on a roll now.
Until the end. Yeah, they went 9-1 in the last 10.
Yeah, but like it has looked awful. His body language has looked shitty. Like for me, I can't put him on second team when I can pinpoint going like your team's recent slide has a lot to do with just your demeanor. Forget even necessarily the Twitter thing, but just his demeanor on the court and things like that was all bad. It was all, none of it was good. And for me, I can't put you in second team in that range. The other guy that we had different was Duren and Maxey.
Yeah.
So for me, Jalen Duren has made that monster leap. It's as great as Cade has been. Duren has been just as good in that sense. Not necessarily MVP, but like he's been at a level where they're able to kind of just say like, first off, they survived the Cade thing. Part of that has to do with Maury Jenkins, but he was a big part of them surviving that massive stretch. And I think that might have pushed me over the edge. But, like, I just love everything that he brings for this team. I don't think they're the number one seed without him. And I think if he were to miss a large extent of the season, kind of like the way Cade did, I think even Cade struggles in that moment, in that situation, and the team doesn't do as well as they did when they were without Cade and Jenkins kind of stepped up. So for me, it's Jalen Duren. For me, was a pretty easy second team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. It's all the same reasons that I had him on the third team. You know, it was like the 13th or 4th. Like, we're splitting hairs between, I think,
all
beyond
of this
the top 7, I think, where I had, like, Mitchell and Kawhi for the first 2 guys off of my first team. I think beyond that, we're splitting hairs between, like, 10 or 11 different guys for the second and third teams.
Yeah, and when we talk third team, folks, like this is like literally splitting of hairs. Like,
yeah, and I mean Duren was incredible during that stretch with Cade off the court. 22 points, 10.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 0.7 steals, 0.8 blocks, 57% from the field, 81.5% from the line on 8.1 attempts per game during that 10-game stretch. Like, he's still developing, I would say, as a defender, as you can see from the rim protection numbers, which are not great. But the Pistons were better defensively with him on the court than off this year, which is really impressive considering he's backed up by Isaiah Stewart, who, if he played enough games, would be like a defensive player of the year, all-defensive team candidate. So I got nothing wrong with what Duren did this year. The guy was absolutely incredible, took a massive step forward. I had him third on my or I guess I could spoil that. I had him third on most improved. So...
We'll talk about that on Wednesday, folks, just so you know when we get to...
Yeah, fantastic player. I mean, for Maxey, like the shooting tipped back up for him this year and just made him even more dangerous. Steals, deflections, demon, which helped. Like, I thought that this was his best defensive season of his career. Nobody in the league moves faster on the court, with or without the ball. You can't stay in front of him in half-court situations, or especially in transition. He carried that Sixers team throughout the entire season, especially during that stretch of the year when Embiid wasn't playing all that well or wasn't playing at all. And then when multiple stretches of the year, one where he wasn't playing well and one where he wasn't playing at all, or multiple where he wasn't playing at all. Carried them again when Paul George was out. That was somewhat during the stretch where Embiid was playing better, but the guy was just incredible throughout the entire year.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that stuff. I think at the end of the day, like we are splitting hairs, I just go Duran's impact and them being the number 1 seed in a year where we weren't ready for that, I think, and maybe we felt like was a couple of years early, like I think kind of pushed him into me for second team. Give me your third team.
Yep. So like I already said, I got Jalen Brunson and Jalen Duran on there.
Yeah.
And Brunson would move to the second team if Luka is ineligible. Then I got Jalen Johnson. And then I almost can't believe that I have him because I didn't even have him on my all-star team at the midway point of the season. I have Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah. Wait, was that 4 or 5?
That's 5. And then if Luka's ineligible, I have Scotty Barnes.
Okay. Run through your 5 real quick again because I might have missed a name.
Jalen Brunson, Jalen Duran, Jalen Johnson, Karl Anthony Towns. Oh, I did miss one. Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, see, I know what I'm talking about. So it's actually funny because like we've kind of switched here a little bit, right? Because I have Durant and Maxey, but then I have everybody else. Cat, Johnson, and Chet. Now here's the other thing. Durant moves up to my second team if Luka's ineligible. I have Castle as the next man up.
Okay. I'm not going to argue against Stephon Castle. He's my favorite guy in the league to watch outside of like the true superstar players. He was the captain of my all Dubin team.
His impact has been phenomenal. Maybe it's a year early for this, but like he would have been he's just on the outside in that regard. I'm going to throw a different question at you because we have the same guys. I'm with you on Cat's been better as of late, especially trying defensively. I think has been a lot.
This has been his best defensive season, I think. I really do think it's been.
It's been right up there. Jalen Johnson, I mean, come on, dog. Like that's the leap. Like that's when we talk about like players making the leap. And we saw this coming last year, and it's been phenomenal this year. It's even been better after they traded.
23, 10, and 8 on 49, 35, 79 shooting. Like he was so good that he convinced the Hawks to move on from Trae Young and pivot to building their team around him instead, and they've been way better for doing that.
I almost like Chet just made it. Like
really?
Chet just made it for me because I think the other 4 guys were in it. Chet like kind of was close in that regard, but I just think his impact, especially defensively, we don't talk about it as much because we have the alien out there. We would talk about him
like if Wemby didn't exist, we would talk about Chet like he's an alien.
Yeah, exactly. That's so like there's that area and in that regard, I want to throw one curveball at you because you know I love to throw the curveball. I got my Dodger hat on. I'm a lefty, going to throw a little sidearm curve. If Cade was eligible,
yeah,
he's at 64 games. And by the way, you know what? Apply for the exemption. Just fuck it. If Trey Johnson doesn't collapse your lung, you probably you're most likely first team, right? And that would probably bump Jaylen Brown down. Who are you bumping out of your group?
Towns.
Okay. For me, it would have been Chet, but Towns. Okay. All right. So Towns was your 15th guy, basically. Towns just made it. Okay.
Yeah, it was between him, Barnes, Castle, Avdia. There are definitely multiple guys that I'm forgetting here off the top of my head because I didn't put an honorable mentions list in my column. But there were like 7 or 8 guys that were involved for that last spot.
All right. It's tight. For me, again, it was Castle last man up, Barnes after that. But I think I have Castle's season a little bit higher up than Scotty Barnes. Toronto fans, don't get mad. Don't write in. If you do, let Jared know. I'm not.
You know who's more likely to write in than the fans is the broadcast team, who spends the entire broadcast every time being like, "Oh, there's Scotty, Defensive Player of the Year." And yeah. I do love that broadcast. They're so much fun. But the one thing that bothers me is how they spend half the broadcast campaigning for their guys to win awards.
Yeah, we don't need that. And by the way, you don't get to do that when we think your team is the team everybody wanted to play in the East. Sorry. All right, we're going to take...
That was another thing on the last day of the season with the Magic losing that game. The Hawks dropped themselves into 6th by not trying against the Heat.
Stupid.
And then what?
That was stupid of the Hawks.
But, now the Cavs get the best first-round matchup. And quickly had a hamstring strain, so he might not even be healthy for this series against them.
Let's do this real quick. Real quick. The teams that should be ecstatic with how the standings ended for both sides. Oklahoma City, because they avoid both San Antonio and Denver in the second round, and get either the Lakers or the Rockets. Like, that's a huge win. Cleveland, because I think Atlanta would have been a much bigger problem for them. I think getting Toronto is a bigger win for them. And I don't think anybody else is as big a winners as those guys.
Boston can't get Charlotte in the first round?
I mean, yeah, that's true. Okay, so that's a nice little win. So Boston with that. Although I honestly think
you
Boston
get either the Sixers without Embiid or that Orlando team
that they can just play their G League guys against the Orlando team. All right, folks, that's enough beating up on stuff and Orlando. We're gonna take a quick break. And we'll be back in just a moment. And we're back, folks. And now we're going to talk about the rest of we're going to do all defensive team and all rookie teams. Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do the all defensive teams first.
All defensive team. Let me know who was your first team.
I had Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, Scotty Barnes, Rudy Gobert, and Bam Adebayo.
Okay. I had 4 out of the 5.
I'm guessing, based on your all-NBA teams, that you did not have Scotty Barnes as among that 5.
No, I did.
Ah.
I have Derek White instead of Gobert.
Okay.
And we know White's defensive impact. Right? Like, we don't have to. The reason why I don't have Gobert first team, I have him on second team, but the reason why I don't have him on first team is I do feel like there's a little bit of a step back this year in his rim protection, in the way he's played, in the way he's kind of approached the defensive mindset. Whereas before it was kind of, everybody hated the nickname, but Stifle Tower and things like that. Like, I didn't
I love that nickname. I thought that was a great nickname.
It was. Didn't he hate it, though, or something?
I mean, that doesn't matter. Like, you don't get to choose your own nickname, first of all. As the director of nickname operations for the NBA, I would like to point out, you do not get to choose your own nickname. Like,
how'd you get that job?
Self-appointed. When Kevin Durant said that he didn't want to be the Slim Reaper and he wanted to be the servant instead, that was the end of things for me.
That was maybe the single worst decision, and he's had some interesting ones, but that was the single worst Kevin Durant decision right there. But I just don't feel like Gobert's impact has been there defensively. I don't feel like he's been the rim threat that he used to be. Not saying he's not good. I'm not saying, again, but I don't think it was... maybe it's unfair, but like his standard of what we're used to seeing that he set for himself just wasn't met for me this year. I didn't feel like he was there at that point. Whereas Derek White, I mean, just to be honest with you, and I don't know if we might get in trouble because I'm definitely not going to bleep it out because I'm producing today. But Derek White's a motherfucker. Like, he's just a beast when he's on the floor defensively. You know, and I think it's what he can do. And, yeah, Brown takes most of the tougher assignments, but that's by design so that he can literally cover the other 4 guys. Mm-hmm. He flies all over the court. He is everywhere. You're a big man, he still might block your shot. Like, he's the best shot blocking guard we have in the league right now. And I just think he needed to be first team for me. That was my big. That's why I had him jump there.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that Gobert's rim protection may not have been up to the obviously very high standard that he set in other seasons. I just don't necessarily compare someone to previous seasons. I try to compare them to what happened in the league throughout this season. And Gobert's rim protection did dip a little bit, I think, over the final month to 6 weeks of the season. But before that, it was extremely high level, and he was taking away everything, not just at the rim, but in the paint. I think he slipped, like I said, a little bit during that very latter portion of the year when Minnesota was, to be fair, up and down on both ends of the court, and I think that does matter. But I think the totality of the effort throughout the year led me to keep him on the first team.
Yeah, my other thing with Gobert is, like, there's definitely the feel of, like, if I don't get the ball, like, I start pouting, and then I probably won't defend as much. But that's...
Yeah. And I'm not, like... Derek White was my first guy on the second team. You know, like, he... Not to steal your term, but he fucks shit up, you know? Yeah. Like...
I hope we're allowed to curse like this on RealGM because it's definitely coming on this episode.
Yeah. Let's just hope that that's allowed. But, you know, his hands are all over the place in the middle of everything. He's going to average, or did average, both a steal and a block per game for the second time in his career. And at 6'4", he's tied for the shortest player ever to do it. Like, he does things for a guard that you shouldn't be able to do as a guard, and he does them with such a degree of consistency that he did make me seriously consider putting him on the first team over either Bam or Gobert.
Okay. You're on my second team?
Yeah, I mean, do you have anything to say about Bam or the top 3 guys either? Like, we had the same guys, but we should talk about them a little bit.
We know Wemby, right? Like, that's just a straight no-fly zone to the point where, like, there's going to be a time where Wemby's just not even going to get enough blocked shots because people are not going to shoot against him. Like, I expect his shot blocking numbers to go down at some point because they just won't try him.
And they have been going down each season of his career.
Yeah, they know, right? Like, how many times have we seen guys, like, drive in the lane, they're about to go into their shot and see it's Wemby, or he's in the vicinity, and they go, let's find the kick out. Or right. Nash dribble on our way out. Like, that's going to be something we're going to see more and more of, so I won't be surprised to see that. Chet, we talked about it with the All-NBA team. Like, if it wasn't for Wemby, we'd be talking about Chet defensively. And if Wemby didn't qualify for the award, we all know Chet would have probably won Defensive Player of the Year. I'm spoiling it. Pretty obvious who Defensive Player of the Year is now at this point.
I don't think that qualifies as a spoiler.
Yeah, that's just kind of like, it's going to be Wemby.
It's like saying, you know, Bruce Willis was dead at the end of The Sixth Sense. Like, it's not a spoiler anymore.
Well, that might be for some people.
Come on. The movie was 25 years ago.
Some people are slow to get to movies. My wife probably hasn't seen it. We just watched With Honors the other day with Joe Pesci and Brendan Fraser. Great movie, by the way.
I haven't seen With Honors.
With Honors is nice. I'd shout out where we watched it, but I don't know who advertises with us. No free ads.
Yeah, they gotta be a sponsor.
Streaming platforms. Okay. Barnes made it for me because of this, and this is why he ended up my 17th best player, you know, in the All-NBA stuff. But Barnes made it for me with just his defense is unbelievable. This is an old game. But that Charlotte block to win the game.
Oh, yeah.
A while ago. Still in my mind. Like, that's how long ago it was, and I still go, like, God damn. Like, every now and then just randomly go, like, damn, man, he really did get to, like, that was impressive. So
Incredible play. Another one of the great games of the year, by the way.
Yeah, again, there's so many. But anyways, like, this is the stuff, like, you're seeing with him that, like, puts him on that level, I think, defensively with these guys. And why it's okay, and I don't get mad when the broadcast campaigns for him to win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he won't get it, but like he's to me he's definitely first team. And then Bam's just fucking solid, man.
We're really throwing in the F-bombs on this one, so
I know.
I hope we're still allowed to do that.
We're sorry, folks, if we're not.
With both Barnes and Bam, the versatility is such a huge thing. Like, I had the stat in my column. Barnes has guarded point guard, shooting guard, small forwards, power forwards, and centers on at least 14% of his defensive possessions. You can find that at B-Ball Index. One of just 6 players in the league who did that with 1,000 or more minutes played. And the only other guy in that group in the mix for all NBA or for all defense or defensive player of the year is OG Anunoby. And I just think Barnes was more consistent throughout the season than OG was. With Chet, I mean, the rim protection numbers are incredible. Like 48.2% when within 5 feet of both the rim and the shooter. Best in the league by more than 5 full percentage points. Like, that's among players who challenge at least 5 shots per game. When you expand it to 4 shots per game, he's second behind Isaiah Stewart. But, I mean, just incredible stuff. The numbers on help defense, when you look at the tracking data, second only to Wemby in points allowed per drive when he provides help. Second behind Wemby in points allowed per pick when he defends the screener in pick and rolls. Like, didn't switch into isolation all that often, but 0.7 points per switch, absolutely insane. Oklahoma City's defensive rating, whether he plays with another big man or not, is just outrageous when he's on the court. And, obviously some of that is due to the fact that they have really, really good perimeter defenders.
They're a good defensive team as a whole.
So much of what those guys are able to do on the perimeter is due to the fact that they have Chet and, to a lesser extent, Hartenstein behind them.
Let's go second team. And I'm going to go because I think I know we have some differences.
Okay.
And I think I have one in here that's the person who's been left out is might make you mad. I know it'll make others mad.
All right.
Going Asur Thompson. Told you I had Rudy Gobert.
Yep.
Going with OG, Kason Wallace, and Stephon Castle.
So we had 4 out of 5 again on this last team, and Stephon Castle was my last cut from this team again. So I had Derek White, like I said.
I don't think he could be the captain of your all-star, your Dubin team.
That's about like my favorite player.
You keep cutting him. You keep cutting him.
Yeah, so I had him as the 17th best player or top 20 best player at least, and 11th best defender in the league. Like it's so terrible. Like this
can't be the captain of your old Dubin team.
This is one of my things when people get mad about awards votes. Like, oh my God, you didn't have whoever on your ballot. Like, I'm sorry. I think he was merely a top 1% player in the league as opposed to top 0.5% player in the league. Like, get out of here with that nonsense.
I have a complaint about that later. Maybe that's for Wednesday's show. But we'll leave it for now. But okay, so it's basically Amen Thompson versus Stephon Castle because we have everybody else. We said, listen, Asur is phenomenal. Defensively, I think just the way like his offensive game kills me, but like defensively, what he does, it's so valuable for this Pistons team in the way that he can just sort of manipulate the game. We talked Gobert, you and I having that. Why I have Gobert in that, there, White flip-flop, all that. OG has taken a bit of a step. It's not been as great. He would be a first-team guy, but it's not at the level, again, we expect him to be at. At least I do.
I think with OG, the thing is, like, the ceiling is as high as any player in the NBA not named Wemby. Like, the combination of on-ball defense, help defense, and rim protection that he brings when he's locked in on his best nights is as high as anybody in the entire NBA. I think that is without a doubt true. But he had some stretches this season where he was not as locked in as you'd like him to be, and that was what pushed him off of my first team and onto my second team.
Right. Kason Wallace is just a freaking bulldog. See, I said freaking this time. Like, he's just all over you. Like, when he gets into you, it's along those lines of like when you see him sub in and you know you're the primary ball handler, you're just like, oh, this sucks.
What's ridiculous about Oklahoma City is it is absolutely miserable to play against Lou Dort for several obvious reasons. And then you see
When
Dort walk out of the game, and you're like, oh, man, Kason Wallace is coming in.
Yeah,
and then you see, let's say J-Dub checks out of the game, and oh, my God, Alex Caruso is coming in the game now.
It's too much. It's too much. So it really could have been whoever you want in OKC, but he's just played so many more minutes in that regard. But let's have the conversation. Castle versus
I want to go through Kason Wallace a little bit more.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, like he will just take the ball away from you, Kawhi Leonard style. Mm-hmm. Like it's just insane. And I think the on-ball defense is what everybody focuses on. He's really good away from the ball too. Passing lanes, helping, rotating out the shooters, just like everybody on Oklahoma City. Like, he nails the little details of defense every single time. He's not going to get lost. He's going to know the scouting report. He's going to get out to the right guy. He's going to stunt to the right guy so he can get back to the corner. Like, he is going to do absolutely everything right.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the right way to kind of view it. And we kind of knew this was who he was when he came in the league. It's just been even better to think than advertised. Defensively, even. For me, I went Castle over Thompson. I've already talked to Castle. Part of it for me with Thompson is and maybe it's unfair, but I don't feel he had the same defensive intensity night in and night out. And part of this might not be his fault because he had the responsibility for trying to be a playmaker and figuring that stuff out. So it was, in that regard, it wasn't quite there. There hasn't been as many nights where I've watched the Rockets and they're great defensively and he's really good defensively but there hasn't been as many nights where he stood out to me so much defensively like these other guys, like these 10 other guys, where I've been like, holy crap, like, you're good luck. And I feel like part of that had to have been the added responsibility he had this season. And I think that kind of took him out a little bit, just a little bit. Again, this is 11th, 12th best defender then, like, territory, but it took him out of the defensive end a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's fair if you compare it to last year when there were way more of those, like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening type of defensive games from him, like the game that he had on Steph Curry late last year where it was just like, there is absolutely nothing that Steph can do about this guy. There maybe weren't as many moments of that, but I do still think the totality of the effort throughout the season was incredible. Like, on the ball, he makes you feel him every single inch of the court. He is a terror away from the ball, helping on drives, recovering to the perimeter, protecting the rim. Like, everything that Asar does, unsurprisingly, Amen does too. Like, I think Asar was a little bit more consistent this year because he didn't have to put in as much effort offensively as Amen did, but the ceiling is the same. And I think even the rim protection might be a little bit better from Amen. Some of that is because he's in position to do it more often because they use Asar on the perimeter way more often and the Rockets will use Amen as a roamer a little bit more often than the Pistons do with Asar. But man, I mean, the guy is just incredible all night, every night.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, this is the nitpicks. We're going into it. I want to fly through all rookie teams. I don't want to stay on this too much, although we do have some big differences, I think, in the second team. First team, it's pretty obvious, right? It's Flag, Khan, VJ, Harper, and Bailey, right? Is there any real argument?
No, I think I had those same five guys. Pretty self-explanatory for the top four, I would say. You could maybe make an argument for someone else over Bailey, but like I was pleasantly surprised by him throughout this season based on what I'd heard about him at Rutgers. Like, the shot selection was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be, even on a team that was playing nonsense basketball for a lot of this year. And he was like legitimately useful as a secondary creator at times. And the size and the length, you can see the outlines of someone who could play good defense down the line.
And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to stick my claim on this one. If Dylan Harper was drafted to another team and was playing 30-something minutes a night, I think he actually would have probably won a Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely could have.
I think that's kind of that deal. Flag, Con, whoever you have for Rookie of the Year, totally deserving, right? Between those two guys. They've both been phenomenal. I don't care what the debate is. It's neck and neck in that regard. VJ started out great. I think he's kind of tapered off a little bit through the course of the season. But for the most part, still Edgecombe's right there in that mix.
Rock solid. Rock solid, yeah. VJ.
All right. Do you want to give me your second team, or do you want me to give you mine?
Let's go to yours first.
Okay. Maxime Reynaud, Cedric Coward. I have Derek Queen. And this is where it gets, I think, going to get a little funky. I have Jeremiah Fears and Will Riley.
Okay. So we have three of the same guys.
Will Riley was a late ad. Will Riley kind of won me over.
He would have to be a late ad, considering he wasn't doing anything for the first portion of the season.
And so give me yours.
So I also have Derek Queen, Cedric Coward, and Maxime Reynaud, but I have Ryan Kalkbrenner and Colin Murray-Boyles.
All right. I want to discuss the Colin Murray-Boyles thing.
Yeah.
Because my reasoning is just very simple. He would have made it, but he only played 1,200-something minutes this season. Only played 50. He got injured. It's a tough break. All that. I can't really. For me, I just couldn't give him that the all rookie team. Otherwise, if he had played 65 games, then I probably would have given it to him. But
or 2,000 minutes, right? Or
2,000 minutes. But like 1,200 minutes or almost 1,300 minutes, it's too low for me.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I think it's totally fair. I don't count minutes as much for the teams as I do for the individual awards. I think you're more trying to capture for the teams who were the best guys, and I just think Murray-Boyles outplayed those other guys when he was actually on the court. And I think the gap was wide enough for most of the year for me to get him on there. Like defensively, particularly, like you're not going to find for the most part rookies that are legitimate, like big positives defensively. And I think that he was one, and he was a big contributor to the fact that Toronto's defense was really what propped up the Raptors throughout the entire year. And if he qualified for the leaderboards, which I think he did, then he became the 18th rookie ever to average at least 1.5 steals and 1.5 blocks per 36 minutes. Like, just really good, really productive defense. And it's not like he was a nothing offensively. Good finisher around the rim, smart passer. Like, he helped them a lot on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and I think, when you look at it with his impact, I think when they were starting out the season and we were like, wow, this Raptors team is really surprising everybody. Mm-hmm. He was a big part of that kind of that bench unit coming in and doing shit. And I think that was the stuff that kind of sort of impressed me along the way as we went. I went with Jeremiah Fears as my ninth guy. Really, he comes in and does shit. There's something about his game. He's had a monster run to close the season. 2 36-point games, a 40-point game. I get it too. The team sucks and all that and everything. But like most of these rookies are on bad teams. So I think you're in that realm. I just think he is extremely a strong finisher, just for me, what I saw from his rookie year was enough where I was willing to jump in. And the reason why Derek Queen was originally in my first team, right? Like about 2/3 through the season. And he fell to the second team because he ended up losing his spot in the starting lineup, right? Mm-hmm. Like they changed and then his minutes became very erratic. And that's why I had Kalkbrenner in my second team. But he got bumped because he lost his starting spot to Musa Diabate, and the team takes off once that happens, right? Like, for me, I couldn't have him on the rookie team when it's like, yo, the team found more success when they took you off. Now, it's not a saying as to, like, you're a bad player. I think Kalkbrenner's a good player. But I think for me, that's where I had to kind of cut the cord.
Yeah, I hear you. I didn't hold that part against Kalkbrenner. Like, just because there's another player on your team at your position that's really good that made for a better fit with the starting lineup doesn't mean that you weren't also really good. You know, he's a great rebounder, good finisher inside, good rim protector. He was a quality backup center throughout the entire season. And for me, Fears was just too inefficient throughout the year. He had like a 46.5 effective field goal percentage. I think it was 48.5 effective field goal percentage. Like, it's so inefficient to use that many possessions and to just not do all that much with them. Even if he did finish strong at the end of the year, I couldn't do it.
And then comes little Will Riley, who, like, for me, just kind of kept trugging along. Like you said, didn't play much the first, like, month and a half of the season. Then started to get more and more consistent minutes. Then, of course,
once everyone on the Wizards got hurt, then he started to get more minutes.
Well, I mean, no, he was playing, like, 17, 18 minutes in December. Was getting minutes in January, just under 20 minutes. Then, when the tanking came, they gave him the minutes. And he delivered for the most part across the board with all of that stuff. His 3-point shooting slumped to finish the year. It was a bit rough in that regard. I just like the way the dude plays, man. At the end of the day, I just think there's something there. I think it's worthy of it. And again, this is splitting hairs for me, where it's, maybe I'm being unfair to Kalkbrenner, but I think, the team finding the formula with you taking a smaller role hurts. And I just think again, team's tanking. So yeah, like, somebody's going to shoot on this, all that stuff. Like, I get it, but he showed some stuff, man. That leap from the second, from pre-All-Star to post-All-Star, 7 points a game to 15, almost 16 points a game. Shooting's a little bit, but still, like, there's something there, man.
I think there's something there too. And I think he did take a nice leap over the second half of the season. I just think Kalkbrenner contributed more consistently over the course of the entire year, where he was a rotation guy for the entire season and a starter for the early part of the season. And it's not like he wasn't playing well during the stretch where the Hornets weren't playing well. Right. It's just that things didn't really click into place until they switched Diabate into there.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back. Oh, yes.
We should at least talk about Maxime right now, because we both had him on there. Cedric Howard.
Well, first off, with Cedric Howard, like, this dude can play. Like, yeah. I'm really excited to see I'm really excited to see how he develops with this team. I'm very interested in that. He knocks down shots. Yeah, like, Cedric Howard's the baller, dude.
Yeah. Every time I watched the Grizzlies, he made me wish that I watched more of the Grizzlies. And to have an above average...
And that says a lot. That says a lot. The Grizzlies are a tough watch, man.
Yeah. Like, to have an above average usage rate and an above average true shooting percentage on that terrible team while you were hemorrhaging teammates throughout the entire season is really, really impressive, especially when your defense is better than your offense.
Yeah. I think that's a big one. And then Maxime Reynaud came out of nowhere for me. I wasn't quite expecting this. Obviously I don't know much about these guys coming into the draft and things like that. I kind of learned them through the season. But it was just, you couldn't take your eyes off him when he was on the court. To be honest, the Kings actually have some nice young bigs. I like the Caldwell kid too. Cardwell, sorry. Well, I should make sure I know his name more. The Cardwell than Caldwell, yeah. But I like what
I was listening to Bill and Zach, and Bill was calling him Dwayne Coswell. So, yeah.
This is my problem, is I listen to other podcasts, and if they mess up the name too, then it gets in this little pea-sized brain of mine, and then but anyways, we're taking away from talking about these guys. Just solid. Just in general, like, It's the Kings, so I don't know if that's necessarily a building block, but Maxime Reynaud is a guy that eventually they trade, and we all wonder why, and we go like, "Fuck, man, he's so good."
17 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, while shooting 58% from the floor after the All-Star break.
I mean, really close to first team.
If he did that all year, he would have been first team, and he could have pushed VJ for that spot if he was that good all year.
That's the thing. Like, that's how good he was. So I think for me, that's why I had him in that bar. All right, we do got to take a break though, Jared, and then we got to talk playing games. And we're back. Sorry, I kill Jared with this, folks. I make him wait, and I kind of want to make him guess when I'm going to come back. But we're back, and we're done with awards. I'm not going to lie to you. Awards are cool. Games are better. We have no games tonight, it being Monday. But tomorrow, we have our first set of playing games. The 9-10 game. The Miami Heat-Charlotte Hornets. Then we have the West Coast 7-8 team. Portland, Phoenix.
I have a complaint about this.
Uh-oh.
I think that both of the 7-8 games and both of the 9-10 games should be on the same night.
I don't think they figured out the timing of this stuff all that well. Like, I think that's where they're still kind of feeling. Because didn't last year it was they had it that way or something, or they had the East go one night and then the West go next. Well, there was something weird about last year.
But I think like there should be an advantage to being the 7-8 as opposed to the 9-10. Like, I think the first night should be both of the 7-8 games and the second night should be both of the 9-10 games, so that not only do you get the second game to be able to make the playoffs, but you get an extra day of rest before Friday to try to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's a fair one. I'll run it up. I'll give Adam a call here once we're done.
He loves fixing problems, so
and creating new ones. But let's get going to the games. Which game do you want to talk about first?
Let's do Phoenix-Portland. I feel like those teams are maybe slightly more interesting, even though they're not going to be more interesting in the first round of the playoffs.
All right. I'm going to say this right off the bat, and then I just want to hear your thoughts on the game. This is the worst possible matchup for Phoenix. Everything Phoenix is good at, Portland defends well. Right? Like, that's kind of their MO. The stuff that Portland's bad at, Phoenix doesn't do. They don't have the front court to really take on Portland's. I kind of am expecting Portland to win this game.
I think I am too. I think that the defense, especially over the last however many games, has been good. Like, there was a stretch early in the year where the defense was like, okay, this is real stuff. Then there was a stretch in the middle of the year where we were like, all right, they kind of dropped off quite a bit. And then I think toward the end of the season, it got a little bit better. I think they can defend Phoenix too. Like, they have a bunch of guys that they can put on the ball. You put Jrue Holiday on Devin Booker, see how that goes. Klingon can defend the rim. You can get Avdia attacking downhill. Phoenix doesn't protect the rim all that well. Like, I think it's not a great matchup for Phoenix either.
Yeah, I just ultimately just look at it going like, this is a bad matchup right off the bat. I will be interested to say this. It'll be a battle at the 3-point line. The Suns are a good 3-point shooting team. The Blazers are a good 3-point defensive team. I think they focus on limiting attempts, which is a big deal. Suns average about 40. The Blazers allow about 35. Like, that's where this game will be won and lost. But I just don't think Phoenix has enough in the tank for them in terms of the battle with the bigs. Klingon has been really good this season. Like, and especially the last couple of months. I don't think people have really kind of caught on to that. Robert Williams, who I think everybody has sort of forgotten, and maybe because we stopped calling him the Time Lord. But
we still got to call him the Time Lord.
Okay, well, we'll continue to call. But the two of them have been really good for the Blazers in the front court. right, at the center position as their bigs, and have really held up and have get them a battle of extra possessions, offensive rebounds. It becomes hard when Denny drives downhill, gets downhill, draws help. Even if he misses the shot, they're able to get the rebound and the putback. The one thing I would say if I'm Phoenix, I'm packing the shit out of the paint and let this team try to bomb from three. They take a ton of threes, but they don't make a lot of them.
No. Definitely trying to pack the paint, stop Avdia from getting downhill, let them shoot from three all night long. If you could turn it into a 3-point contest where you're a good shooting team and they're a bad shooting team, even though the Blazers do limit attempts to a certain extent, I think that that's a good thing for Phoenix. You don't want to let the Blazers start getting into their driving downhill and actually finishing at the rim as opposed to drive and kick and try to shoot threes game. Portland, by the way, number 1 in defense over the final 15 games of the year. So...
yeah, I mean they've been pretty solid. I mean they had a big win against the Clippers on Friday to kind of
two big wins
set them
against
up.
the Clippers.
Yeah. To set them up though, like that game Friday, I think was going to decide who was going to get number 8, and that opened the door for them with that. And I think that was pretty impressive with the way they kind of came out in that game. I was pretty locked into that one. How many fouls is Dylan Brooks going to have on Denny?
I was going to say he finishes the game with 5 fouls.
Okay. All right. There's definitely going to be some.
He will be in foul trouble at some point. He'll either have 2 in the first quarter or 3 in the second quarter.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some of that stuff there with that. The one thing I'll say about the Phoenix, too, though, that we didn't say, they play their asses off. They play hard. If you don't come
both
correct.
Both these teams do, I think. Like, it's going to be a very hard playing game on both sides.
I don't think it'll be a well-played game. But I think it'll be a hard-played game.
I think it's going to be a rock fight.
Yeah. This is going to be ugly. Let's go to Miami, Charlotte. And let's just be honest here. Everybody wants Charlotte to make the playoffs.
That's like the only thing I have about this game. I just hope Charlotte wins.
That's the only thing people care about. And honestly, I think this is actually a tough matchup for them. I think Miami can cause problems. I think Miami can cause problems for them. I don't think they have any way to guard Bam. Like, that's a challenge for them.
Has anybody needed to guard Bam all that well this year, except in the game that he went off against the Wizards? His offense this season, not that great.
Yeah, but if you go back, so look, the last time Bam played the Hornets, he didn't play in their last matchup, which was late March, where the Hornets beat the crap out of them. Mm-hmm. But they played in the beginning of March, which was also still like, it was during that important stretch where we were like, man, Charlotte might be able to get the 6th seed, right? Like it was one of those types of games. It was a close game down the stretch. It was close going into the fourth quarter. Then Miami shut down Charlotte's offense. They only scored 19 points in that quarter. And then Bam had 12 points on his own in that quarter. And I just think his physicality is too much for a guy like Diabate. I think it's too hard. Like, that's the kind of guy that Musa probably struggles with. That it's like, all right, face up, he's going to pump fake me, drive, get into me, bump me, and things like that. And that's where you lose a little bit in the size battle there. I think also defensively, I'm just sicking Davion Mitchell on LaMelo. Pick him up full court, pressure him. Let's just make it hard for them to get into their offense. Andrew Wiggins on Concanipple. You are not to help. Like, I'm just thinking, I'm fascinated by this. We all want Charlotte. And we all want Charlotte to be the 8th seed in the playoffs. Everybody wants Charlotte. And everybody's tired of Miami.
Although the Charlotte-Detroit matchups have not exactly been barn burners this year.
We just want another fight, Jared. That's all. But, like, all of this is all that we want.
Detroit played so well in the games that I forgot about the fight.
Yeah. But this is all that we want. And what happens when this is something that we all want? Miami finds a way to mess it up.
And it's always Miami finding a way to mess it up, too.
What will be more annoying, and I will only make this is like a caveat prediction. If Miami were to win this game, they'd lose the next game. Because then we'd get the least the least matchup we'd want.
Oh, God, because then you're getting either Orlando or Philly, or you're getting both Orlando and Philly in the first round, which
is what nobody really wants. So I'm just telling you now, like that's like they'll get this win, but lose the next one in that way. So this is why I'm actually really alarmed about this game.
It would be extremely classic for the Heat to win this game and then lose the next game. That's absolutely true. I am, to an extent, worried about the way that the Heat can defend the Hornets, but I think that the Hornets do everything so quickly and decisively offensively that they can still shake free, even if they're pressuring LaMelo up the court. Like, you can have Brandon Miller or Con Knipple bring the ball up the court and get you into your offense, and you can still have LaMelo be a major contributor offensively. They're going to get out on the break when they get their opportunities to do that too. And I think on the Bam front, if he plays really physically and gets down into Diabate inside, that can be a problem. He doesn't always do that. Like, we always want Bam to be this physical force, and he isn't always that guy. Maybe he is that guy in this particular game, and that causes problems. But I don't know that I trust him to definitely do it. Even if he did, he only played in 2 of the 4 games against Charlotte this year. And he averaged 25, 9, and 3, but on only 47% from the floor and 30% from 3. It's not like he destroyed them, 50 points on 42 shots and 9 free throws. So 50 points on 47 true shot attempts. It's not like he killed them.
Yeah, but I just think his physicality can be a problem. The good news for Charlotte and for us, there will always be a target on the floor for them to attack. They will get to go at Hero all they want. And then they'll get to go at Norm Powell all they want. Like, there is going to be the problem for Miami is they can't hide their weak links all that well. And I think that's something that's where I think that's
you
the
would
pain.
Want to hide your weak links on are like Diabate or Kalkbrenner, and you need to have a big on them. You can't put Hero or Powell on those guys, and they don't give you a place to hide in the first or second units. I guess you could hide someone on Sion James with the second unit, but then Kobe White is still going to do stuff against you,
And Kobe White's been great. Like, he's especially the last, since he got there, he's been phenomenal. I'll say this, Khan has slipped over the last 10 games. I think he's shooting below 35% from 3. It's one of those things. It's also something where it's like literally he can knock down 10 threes in a game and none of us would blink. So I think that's a really fascinating game in that regard, looking forward to that. So that's tomorrow. We're going to be back Wednesday. Do you want to talk about those games on Wednesday?
No, because let's talk about them now, because the episode's not going to be up for all that long before the games are played on Wednesday, so we might as well talk about them now.
I couldn't be less excited about the matchups we have for this games.
Nope.
And I mean that as somebody who loves basketball and wants to watch and will watch all these games like crazy. Orlando, Philly, to be honest, I'd rather them both lose. Right? Like, I'm not interested in, I've done enough with Orlando. I've said enough through the course of the year. And to be honest, they should be embarrassed when they say we're going to play Desmond Bane for the first half of the game, the last game of the season, and then have to bring him back the last 5 minutes of the game to beat Boston, who was resting everybody. Like, that's embarrassing.
The main Celtics. That's what they're called now, right? The main
Red
Celtics.
Claws. Are they the Celtics now? They're not the Red Claws anymore?
I think they're the main Celtics these days.
That's stupid. They should have gone back. Red Claws are better. But that is in that regard. Philly, listen, we've talked about it. Embiid with the appendicitis. No Embiid. Paul George came back, has been playing well. Obviously, Maxi's on your second team. He's on my third team. We love him. VJ Edgecombe's on our first all-rookie team. I'm done with them. I don't think there's anything that they can really do in any way. Boston's the winner because they get whoever wins this game. And,
I'm 100% with you on everything you said. I don't really have any interest in seeing Orlando anymore. I would prefer that the Magic lose both games so that we don't have to see them in the playoffs and we can just get on with all of the significant changes that they're obviously going to make this offseason. And Philly without Joel Embiid is just not really a threat to do anything against either Boston or Detroit. So I would just as soon not see that team the rest of the season either.
Yeah. And all right, Golden State versus the Clippers, Kawhi versus Steph. Like, okay, again, this is it's. I feel Golden State, I think, is going to win this game. I think the Clippers are going to, they're going to be out at this point. I think for me with the Warriors is, Steph's fun to watch. Steph's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun game because Steph's going to be interesting. Kawhi's going to be interesting. But at the end of the day, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think these teams do anything in the playoffs.
Neither do I, and I'm not sure either of them beats the loser of Phoenix-Portland anyway to get into the playoffs. I am interested to a certain extent because Steph Curry is playing, and I'm always interested when Steph Curry is playing. I'm interested to see what it looks like with Steph and Porzingis, who haven't had a chance to play a ton together, and I think that can be a really interesting combination. Seeing Kawhi go Terminator mode is always a good time, but so let me ask you this. Let's say the Clippers lose this game, and let's say Orlando loses both games. Bigger disaster, Orlando or the Clippers?
Orlando. It's not even close. It's not even close. You traded how many picks to get Desmond Bane? We were talking them up as being the third, being as good as third in the East. I forget what my wild prediction was at the start of the season, but it was high on them. Like, this is Orlando loses and doesn't make the playoffs at all. This is going to cost Jamal Mosley his job. This is probably going to lead to them trading Paolo. This is going to lead to a lot of changes. And I think it's this for me with the Clippers. Here's the thing, real quick. If the Clippers lose this game, they better hope Portland wins, because they'd have a better chance against Phoenix than they would Portland, just because, again, the size. The Clippers got a tough break with Niedenhauser's injury.
Yeah.
Because he was just about to kind of come on, and I think that would have been a big one for them. They're just too small otherwise. After Brook goes to the bench, they don't have any size. With the Clippers, aside from the sideshow going on and in the with the contracts and everything with Kawhi, like, this has been an impressive season when you look at how bad they started. And I think they're just petering out. And part of it is they had to go so goddamn hard to get there.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of the season did still happen, though. And that was an epic disaster. They started the season 6-21.
Let me put it to you this way, then. Whose future would you rather have?
That's a good question. Yeah, the Clippers are more of a blank slate because they have Darius Garland and they have Kawhi Leonard for next year at least, and we'll see what happens beyond that. And then they have the Pacers pick 5-9 this year, or else it turns into a 2031 pick. And maybe they have Benedict Mathurin beyond this year. Maybe they don't. We'll see what happens there. They have Conor Niederhauser. They have my guy, Jordan Miller. They have Kobe Sanders. They have – oh, no, they don't have Kobe Brown anymore because he was in the trade.
No, I traded him.
Yeah. So they've got some pieces there. All of the older guys, for the most part, are on not long-term deals, so we'll see what happens with them. With the Magic, it's basically like, do you want to build around one of Franz or Paulo plus Bane, Black, and Suggs? I think that's all right.
It's not bad. Like, let me put it to you this way. It's not bad that if you're the Magic future is not terrible in the sense of, like, what you have. And you'll probably get a lot if you were trading Paolo. I still think the market's pretty high on him. But your margin for error is very slim because of all the picks you gave up for Bane.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I feel like that's the situation. Whereas, like you said, with the Clippers, it's a blank slate. You got a young guy in Darius Garland. You're beginning to get picks back. You have some picks coming from other teams. Like, I just think, like, in the sense of, like, there's a little bit, you feel a little bit better if you're the Clippers walking into the next couple of years going like, okay, we just need to figure out who we are now. Now we need to go find the guy. I want to go back to something you and I have argued about in the past.
Okay.
You were convinced that Atlanta could trade their own pick.
No, not trade their own pick. Keep going. Go ahead.
Oh, you were talking about the pick swap. But fuck, I'm going to edit this whole thing out.
The Bucks can wind up with both picks if they trade Giannis to Atlanta.
I don't see how they can do that.
Okay. Here it goes. Atlanta gets the best out of New Orleans and Milwaukee's picks. Right. Okay? So let's say that Milwaukee winds up at number 1. Atlanta gets that pick. Let's say New Orleans winds up at number 2. Milwaukee gets that pick. And if Atlanta trades the Milwaukee pick back to Milwaukee for Giannis, then Milwaukee winds up with both 1 and 2.
All right, fine. Still dumb fucking rules. I hate this. I hate this league with these rules and unprotected picks and pick swaps. Just get rid of them all. That's my fix for tanking. And that's all we got for today's show. We're going to be back on Wednesday. Enjoy the play-in games tomorrow. That's Jared Dubin. Make sure you subscribe to Last Night in Basketball. And thank you for listening to the Double Dribble Podcast.
See y'all.